When I was 8 years old, I started getting bullied by my teacher. She would take every opportunity she could to humiliate me in front of my class, or sometimes even the whole school, just to set an example for the other kids. I coped with this by eating food which made me feel better, and by the time I was 9, I was chubby. My parents pulled me out of that school and into another one, but because of my newfound chubbiness, I ended up getting bullied again anyway. My geography teacher, of all people, changed my name from Bridgewell to Squidgewell, which my classmates promptly shortened to Squidge. I made the most of the nickname though, and turned it into my first ever online username. Hello Turbo fans, so I've been working out with this guy. Because like a lot of us, I kind of hate my body and I'm not very good at motivating myself. Cake is delicious. I've struggled with my weight since I was about 9 years old, and if you've followed me on here for a while, you'll have probably noticed that struggle. One time I dropped around 50 pounds in 3 months, and when I tried to make a video about it, I blew out my hearing with an ice cream that had a firework in it. It's a long story. Being overweight on YouTube is difficult because commenters, not even the nasty ones, have a tendency to kind of just say what they see. Boom! Ew, a man! He's chubby! A dog! And that kind of sucks. In fact, I find it so hard to deal with that I've actually been wearing a girdle in some of my more recent videos just to avoid people talking about my weight. This video sucks because you're fat! I hate you less now! So this is why I finally made the push to get fit and work with a personal trainer. It's either that or I start titling my videos, Chubby Guy Pretends He's an Action Star. I found that it's important to be happy with yourself and accept your flaws, but that doesn't necessarily mean ignoring them. A bad attitude, an out-of-shape body, or an unrefined skill are all things that you can improve on. People are always going to find a reason to hate you. It's just a lot more fun when they're doing it because they're jealous. Stay awesome, Turbo fans. Tom Scott out. When I was 9 years old, I was a happy, healthy, little hyperactive kid, and I had a teacher that really didn't like that, and she went to great lengths to just crush my spirit. And I'm talking Miss Trunchbull levels of power abuse. After just 1 year in her class, I became so closed off that they almost diagnosed me with autism, and my parents had to pull me out of that school to get away from her. However, the real memento I'd taken away from year 5 was the association I'd now made between eating tasty food and the bad feelings going away. By the time I made it to my new school, I'd already started to gain weight, and being the hyperactive new kid is hard enough as it is without being overweight. When you're loud and skinny, you're charismatic, but when you're loud and fat, you're a target. When I was 11, a girl called me Eclipse because apparently I blocked out the sun. I must have been on a diet every other month. I would lose a bit of weight, get bullied, eat my feelings, and wind up exactly where I'd started, if not a little heavier. And I'd repeat this behavior until I was 17. It wasn't until I was about 16 years old that I started making progress, actually losing some of this. Cycling to school. When I was in 6th form, I started cycling to school a few days a week and exercising in my bedroom, and I almost got to where I wanted to be, but then I got stressed out by school and remembered that food was my friend. During my first year of university, I packed on some serious pounds. Having to buy and prepare my own food just meant a lot of carbs, just carbs, and by my second year of university, I was the heaviest I had ever been. A guy told me that he was repulsed by the idea of me having sex with my girlfriend because of my size, which was nice. I stayed pretty constant over the next couple of years, fluctuating somewhere between a medium and a large shirt size, and it wasn't until the stresses of university and lost love got their claws in that I quickly found myself here. It was at this point that I literally stopped eating and near enough starved myself for 5 months. In a hotel room in Cardiff, I stood naked in front of a full body mirror and was just so disgusted by what was in front of me that evening I ate only fruit. And then I did the same the next day and the day after. And for the next 6 months, I essentially starved myself, living off around 500 to 800 calories a day. And without any sugar in my system, I found it very hard to socialize, so I don't remember that period of my life too much, fortunately. By the end of the year, I was the thinnest I would ever be. I'd lost most of my weight and pretty much all of my muscle, but I loved how I looked, and I knew that all I needed to do now was just to exercise semi-regularly, and I would finally be where I wanted to be. But because I'd just been starving myself, I never really learned how to eat properly, so when the final year of university hit and I needed something to make my brain work, I just started eating sugars and carbohydrates again. And then when my friend got sick, I started eating to escape. I made it through my final year of university, but my slim figure did not. Once I moved down to London, I tried to reboot my starvation-y low-calorie diet, which I'd now called the Omega Diet, once again. I even almost made a series about it to encourage you to do the same, but then I realized that was a really bad idea and probably illegal. Suffice to say, the diet failed miserably. When my friend passed, I started drinking for the same reasons that I ate. It felt good and maybe gave me a sense of control or something, but after a chance encounter, I was introduced to a personal trainer and we got to work. I was put on a strict high-protein, low-carb diet with an hour of exercise every other day, and the weight was piling off and the muscle was piling on, but at the same time, my mental health was crumbling and I would turn back to food every single time I fell apart. I started taking antidepressants, but because I wouldn't stop drinking, they didn't really work. Before long, my personal trainer had to just accept that I was a lost cause, a hopeless case, and we called it a day. I don't blame him at all. I was moved on to some much stronger antidepressants, but I wasn't warned about a substantial side effect to keep an eye out for, which was a rapidly increased appetite, and in just 3 months, I piled on 50 new pounds. I completely gave up on myself and most of my friendships. I was tired of fighting, tired of failing myself, and just kind of gave in to my weight. Within 6 months, I weighed a little over 250 pounds. But at the start of 2015, with a newfound burst of enthusiasm / fear of death, I started a series called Fat Loser to document my weight loss. I was really gonna do it this time. No, I wasn't. Hey you, my name is Thomas Tomscar Ridgewell, and despite dieting for a whole week, I am still a fat man. Through the floorboards of fat and entered the realm of obesity. Body positivity is great, and I believe everyone deserves to feel comfortable and happy in their own skin, but when your weight begins to negatively affect your health, either through being too little or too much, then it's probably time to reevaluate the situation. Because right now, I am killing myself, both physically and emotionally. I'm calling this the year of the mouth because I want to try and watch what goes into my mouth and what comes out of it. I want to start losing weight and stop losing friends. And I want to start this series to bring you along with me on this journey. This isn't thinspiration or body shaming, this is just my journey, and if you want to come along with me on it, then you are more than welcome. But I reckon I need to lose around 80 pounds. I want my body to go from looking like this to looking more like this. And I had to look at a lot of naked men to find that photo, so... For the first few weeks, I'll be cutting everything out of my diet that isn't meat, fruit, or vegetables. So that means no bread, no potatoes, no pasta, and of course, no delicious junk food. I also intend on drinking nothing but water, flavored water, and sparkling water. Adds the stuff. After that initial period of living like a chubby caveman, I'm hoping that my body and mind will be more accustomed to lower levels of sugars and carbohydrates, and I can start adding light exercise and more fulfilling food types into my diet. The final stage, once I've lost a chunk of this bubble, will be to start adding actual serious exercise into my routine to start burning fat and eventually sculpt myself into something I can be proud of, maybe eventually. So how did this first week go? Well, I started out at a total of 252 pounds, and now I weigh 246 pounds. So yay! I've started enough diets to know that I can easily lose up to 10 pounds in the first week, so I'm not that surprised, but still, it's a very good start. Hurrah! I think it's important to celebrate the small victories, and for this week, those have been the need to start wearing a belt again, and also the fact that yesterday I managed to tie my shoes without getting out of breath, so... Woo! Hey you, my name is Thomas Tomscar Ridgewell, and... Oops, I did it again. Over the next couple months, I received so much bad news that I didn't know what to do with myself, and I just ran straight back into the arms of my two most loving and reliable companions. By October, I was 260 pounds and completely desperate. I saw an advert for a weight loss program and just thought, why not? I am gonna die if I don't do this. And 2 days into the program, they kicked me off because my liver was so damaged from the drinking that I was too much of a health risk for them to take responsibility for. By January 2016, I weighed 270 pounds, but I had managed to get my liver a little healthier and was allowed back onto the weight loss program. And now that I have lost enough weight to get myself back to where I was at the start of Fat Loser last time, I figured it was time to maybe start documenting this again. Because hey, 83rd time's a charm, right? Oh boy. At the end of the day, I'm fat because I eat too much and do too little, and I can't blame anyone but myself for my constant failure. Enough people have tried to help me in my life. Friends, family, girlfriends, hell, even a personal trainer. And I've just lost that faith in myself to say, this is the one, Tom, you can really do it this time. But that doesn't mean I can stop trying, because if there's one thing I've said in my life that made sense, it's that failure isn't fucking up, it's giving up. So I've got to keep trying, and I don't know if it'll amount to anything, but wish me luck.
way to obesity. In 2016, I actually started to get a little bit better. I'd moved into a new house, I'd kind of finished renovating it, things were going pretty well. I was actually gonna make a video a lot like this one, but then I fell into the deepest depression I've ever experienced. Maybe around about June, I realized for the first time in a long time that I wanted to be alive. Self-preservation went out the window for me in around 2016. I'd been on a pretty successful diet, I'd fallen off it, I failed, and that was when I sank as low as I could, and I just really stopped caring. And I started eating and drinking with the passive intention of just going until my body gave out. Like I said, I woke up in June and suddenly I was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to, no, thank you. And it wasn't out of, you know, fear or self-loathing. It was just, it came from a place of self-love. Just saying, not even saying, just feeling. I just felt different. And I began a much more active self-care journey after that, but it just kind of happened. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Monday for another video. And hopefully by the next time you see me, there will be less of me to see. So thank you again, and wish me luck. Tomska out. I'll see you next week. Tomska out. Tomska out. Tomska out. Tomska out. Tomska out.